What's going on, everybody? In today's video, I want to talk about what is real freedom in the mainstream society, the way that people live. The freedom, when they think of it, the first thing they think of is financial freedom. They think of abundance of wealth, they think of living in a mansion, they think of having endless amount of money to buy whatever it is that they want. So what they do is they think money is freedom, and they spend their whole life chasing after this fake wealth in hopes that it's going to give them the freedom. Many of them fail because it is not sustainable to chase after something that is an illusion. And some people succeed, I should say, because they may have started a business, they may have created an avenue where they are starting to see income coming in. But the more successful that they get in their business or their venture, and the more money they make, the more trapped they become. So completely away from the freedom of what they thought it's going to be like. I want to emphasize that the real freedom is not in attaining material wealth. The real freedom is freeing yourself from the constraints of the society, freeing yourself from the matrix. I know these days everyone talks about Matrix, Andrew Tate, and then all these people, they talk about Matrix almost in a cringe way. But I don't mean to be cliche. Matrix is like a perfect term to describe the state of the society that we are in. And that's why all these people are using it. Because it is true. You may not realize it. Your entire perception from birth to now, it's programmed. You're programmed to be the perfect slave to the masters of the society. You are programmed to be the perfect worker for your company. Think about it. The minute you go to school, you get put into this programs, and like everybody is into this one room where you're told what is right, what is not right, how you should sit, when you can go outside and play, and you're taught history, you're taught to be obedient. They make you into a good slave, a good worker. And you spend the rest of your life being that way. Especially when you become an adult, you know how you have this pressure that's constantly telling you, man, I should be doing something. I shouldn't be wasting my time. Whenever perhaps you take time off to relax, you feel guilty about it. It's because of this conditioning that has put into you. You have been programmed to always be productive to work for the system. And when you live like that, no matter how much you work, no matter how much money you make, you'll never have freedom. If you think money buys you freedom, it is true, but it depends on how you use the money and how you earn the money. If you keep money in the bank account and you think it's going to give you freedom, no, you're wrong. The banks and the financial institutions, they are owned by the same entity, you can say, and at any moment, your bank balance can get wiped out to zero. You're just one blackout away, or like one cyber attack away, and one electronic failure away in being restricted from your so-called money. So that's not freedom. So let's talk about what real freedom is. And to get real freedom, you don't need to chase after money. No matter what stage of your life you're in, if you're homeless, doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't want you to make an excuse saying that I need money to be free. It's completely false. You can be free with absolutely $0. And this is how I would do it. So let's just say you have nothing. You have zero wealth, you're homeless. Most of you not. If you're watching, the chances of you being homeless is zero, because you wouldn't be watching YouTube videos if you're homeless. But I'm just giving you this example to strip away any excuses that there will be. So if you have nothing and you want to be free, what you should do, don't chase after money. Don't go look for jobs. Think about it. As a human being, what is essential for us to live? It's a roof over our head and food. Food is fuel. Those two are the most primary aspects of living. And these two is what's controlled by the system. You have to earn for living. They say you have to go earn for your living. This is exactly what they mean. They control the housing and they control the food production. So you have to go in traditional city, in traditional society, you need to go out and buy food. You need to go to the grocery store. You probably don't have space at home to grow food. And you need to pay rent or pay a mortgage to have a shelter over your head. These two are the major expense for people. You don't need car. Like if you don't have to go to work, you don't need car. But in order to sustain your basic essential things, you need a car to go to job, which is an extra expense. And you need to have a job, be productive, and earn money to earn your living, to have a shelter, overpaid shelter, and to buy your packaged chemical garbage from the stores. How you can escape that with no money? It's very simple. Don't live in cities. Cities are self-imposed prison. People who live in city, they do the same thing over and over again. Everyone is a prisoner without even their awareness. They're prison. Think about it. They live in a box, apartment or home, whatever you want to call, or whatever they stay in, and they have to go to a job, right? So they get on a car, which is a box again, to go sit in a cubicle or to be in a building to work, which is a box again. And they come back exhausted and they just watch a TV to numb themselves and rinse and repeat the next day. It goes on and on. And some people, they go to the gym. Again, if you think about it, it's like a rat race. Everyone goes to the gym, they run on treadmill. It's doing the same thing, everyone's plugged in. It feels weird to me when everyone does the same thing. Everyone has the same haircut. Everyone talks about the same pop trend and what movies and what TV shows they watch. Something is off. Something is fish. That is a prison. You live in a way that's repeated over and over again. And for what? To attain shelter and for food. And how you can escape that? If you have nothing, like I said, go to a countryside. Go where there are lots of lands available. And you may say, if I have no money, how can I buy a land? I'm not asking you to buy a land. I'm asking you to go to the countryside first, because countrysides are usually cheaper. Go where the farmers and farming communities are and offer your service to work for free. Work for free at a farm in exchange for shelter and fresh food. Any farmer, they would be happy to take you on if you are honest and if you are trustworthy, if you look trustworthy and if you're sincere, your request will be accepted, because land is huge and there are many people out there, especially old people who own the land. They don't have the energy to take care of the land. They would love for someone to come and help them out in exchange for some sort of an offering like a food or and shelter. They would love that. So there are lots of lands available. And even if you cannot find a private land where a farm, like where this sort of arrangement can happen, you can go to the so-called crown lands, the lands that are owned by the government. Who are these guys? What makes them, what gives them the right to claim the land and call it the crown land? Who gave them the authority? The land belongs to no one. The land has always been there before the government and long after the government. Eventually one day they'll go. Long after the government goes, the land is still going to be there until it gets destroyed by natural destruction. Land belongs to no one. This is just titles, So if you can go into the crown lands and you can start camping there. It doesn't cost much to have a tent. You can set one up. It's pretty easy. It's also easy and intuitive to learn survival skills. You may think, I don't have the survival skills to do camping and all that stuff. That's exactly why the city is a prison, because you lose touch with your primal instinct of survival. So when you go back to the land, you start living off tent, you grow your own food. All of a sudden, you don't have to worry about this overpriced rental anymore. You don't have to pay $2,000 anymore, which means you don't have the pressure to work to be productive. And you have your own food, you have your own shelter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a mansion. You have your food and you have your shelter. And most importantly, you live one with nature. The nature itself is going to heal you. All right, that's stage one. And when you reach that, you have freedom over 90% of the people. You have more freedom than the millionaires and all these fake gurus online. You have more freedom than them because you're not attached to these material things. You're not, you don't have the urge to be a consumer, go out and spend in a restaurant. All of that is programmed for you to be a good slave. You don't need to do that. You have your food, you have your shelter. Your time is freed up. And what do you do with your time freed up? You start living your life. That's where your real life is going to start. That's where you're going to start asking deep, profound questions to find out who you are as a person. That's where you're going to find out your gifts. That's where you're going to find out what it is that you want to do in this life for the first time in your life. And that's start of something beautiful, my friends. And from that point onwards, your potential is limitless. It's not my place to say what you can do. You will be guided. You will be protected. You'll be taken care of. But you must be willing to choose the real freedom as opposed to the fake freedom that the society has sold you on. Living in a mansion is not freedom. Driving expensive cars is not freedom. Going out and partying is not freedom. Going out to fancy restaurants, it's not freedom. Watching Netflix, staying at home, it's not freedom. Those are all prison. City is a self-imposed prison system. You need to leave city. Go out there, go to the countryside, talk to farmers, learn survival skills, set up a tent, learn to grow food, and from there you'll be free. And this is just like the base level. And like I said at the beginning of the video, a lot of people watching this, you're not homeless. It's not like you have nothing. You may have money saved up. So if you have money saved up, it's even better. You may be able to even move to a different country where things are cheaper and do the same thing. If you don't want to live in a tent and you have a little bit of money, what you can do is contact the landowners and ask them for some sort of an energy exchange. You take care of the land, and in return, you can set up shelter. These things can be arranged. There are people who are open-minded for accepting this type of energy exchange. Money is not the only thing. You don't need large sum of money to buy land and to start your homestead. You can get started on a homestead and self-sustainability anywhere, anytime. All it takes is your willingness to choose real freedom. So go out there and choose real freedom. Until next time, my friends, take care, be fearless.